morning. Welcome to Matenaer On Air. Jane Matenaer, Greg Bach, and Calvin Butenhoff coming to you from our studio here at Radio Park in Racine. You can always join us. You can call, you can text. The number is the same, 855-752-4842. You can leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. Lots coming up on the show today. Around 10:51, U.S. Representative Mark Pocan from the 2nd Congressional District will be here. I'm sure we're going to talk about many things. I also would like to talk to Mr. Pocan about Donald Trump's plans now to potentially privatize the U.S. postal system.
Jeez.
I know that Mark Pocan has thoughts.
Yes.
About Postmaster General Louis DeJoy.
Lots of thoughts.
Lots of thoughts.
Thoughts that bring Republicans and Democrats together.
Interestingly enough.
Yep.
Yeah. So he is joining us at 10:51. Civic Media's own genie of just about everything, Teri Barr, will be here after the 11 o'clock news. Teri, of course, does all kinds of special features and special stories, and she's very involved in Max Inc. Radio, which is a great live music show on Saturdays that you absolutely should check out if you are a music fan. Katie Jenson from HAWS will be here at 11:33. They're having another special adoption event.
I can't look at their website.
Heading up to the holidays, and they're getting another plane load in today.
That's right. They do the planes.
They do the planes. They get they get animals from shelters down south, and then try and get them homes up here. So Katie Jenson will be here from HAWS at 11:33, and we will wrap it all up with This Shouldn't Be a Thing. Today, the Parenting Tips Edition. You're going to want to stick around for that. I really wish we could start someplace else, but we can't.
Yeah.
And this broke yesterday, I think in the last half hour of our show. Of course, we're talking about the shooting at the Madison Christian School that happened yesterday. Headline from James Causey in today's Milwaukee Journal Sentinel says, Madison Christian School was the 83rd school shooting this year. It's time to act. We know that 3 people are dead, 1 teacher, a student, and the 15-year-old girl who was the shooter.
Yeah.
There are still, I believe, 2 hospitalized in critical condition. I'm sure more details will continue to come out, including where this girl got this gun. It was a handgun that they retrieved from the scene.
Yeah.
But I got so angry yesterday after we got off the air, and details were starting to trickle out a little bit. And on social media, it was everything from, we need to act. We need something to get done. This keeps happening over and over and over and over again. And then on the other side is, it's too soon to make this political. No, it's not. It's not too soon. It is political.
It is not too soon. And I'm frankly tired of that being used as the number, whether it's thoughts and prayers or it's too soon and don't politicize. No, sorry. If this was, no, you know what? I don't even care if it's the first or second time. This is the 83rd time, they said?
This is the 83rd. Sorry, I got to find the headline again. The 83rd school shooting this year.
Yes.
This year.
This is political. This is personal. This is everything. This was done at a Abundant Life Christian school.
Correct.
And, you know, being taught certain values, as we all want to be taught certain values. Don't come at me and say it's too soon. Don't come at me and say don't politicize this. This is political.
It is political.
And it's offensive that politicians get away with sloughing it off with thoughts and prayers. Or as Ron Johnson said in a tweet yesterday, I'll be monitoring the situation. What's there to monitor, Ron?
Well, I'm sorry, but we've already heard Republicans say, well, this is just the price we pay for freedom. This is the price we pay for living in a free society. Really? This is worth it?
No, this is not the price we pay. Good schools, good roads, a military that can actually do its job, that's the price we pay. That's what our taxes pay for. This is not the price we pay for. This is not an add-on. This is not that's disgusting. That's disgusting to say that's the price we pay to live in this country.
Oh yeah. And I've also seen other politicians say, well, you know, it is what it is. Didn't Donald Trump say that? Donald Trump said we just have to get over it.
Yeah.
We just have to get over it.
cool. It's really good to know that, you know, I mean, to me, there's no difference between a dead child and a dead adult. It's a human who's gone. But let's exploit it in the moment for what they love to talk about all the time. You are just saying, dead kids, who cares? That's exactly what you're saying to me when you say thoughts and prayers. I'll monitor the situation. It's too soon. We can't politicize it. You're saying, dead kids, I got other things to do. It's too much.
It's not that important.
Nothing would get done anyways, so let's not even bother trying.
Yeah, that's not the answer. Andrew from Maine texting and listening on WAUK. Too soon. Try too late.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Columbine was how many years ago?
20 plus. And Sandy Hook was 12 years ago.
On Saturday. This past Saturday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, yeah, we have dozens upon dozens, obviously hundreds of dead children because of firearms, specifically in schools. Yeah, don't talk to me about too soon, and don't tell me that is disgusting. It's the price. What about other countries?
Doesn't happen there.
Where it doesn't happen, or like look at a country like Australia where it did happen, and the country got together. The leaders said no more. They thought that's too high a price to pay, and they did something about it.
And we could too.
We absolutely could.
And the vast majority of us, the vast majority of Americans agree on some pretty simple things like universal background checks.
Yep.
And red flag laws.
Yep.
Tony on the live stream says, how can you tell a parent who lost their child, well, that's what it costs to live in America? That's heartless. It is heartless. Absolutely.
Well, Tony, they found a workaround on that one. They just say that that didn't exist. They were a crisis actor. It was all fake. We live in a country where we're allowed to say that out loud.
Yeah, and I don't even would rather. Alex Jones, of course, was all over this yesterday.
Of course he was.
Even though how he's still broadcasting is baffles me.
Freedom of speech, baby.
Yeah, but it's crisis actors and false flags. 855-752-4842, 855-75-CIVIC if you would like to join the conversation. We are going to play a couple clips from a discussion that Jon Stewart had. This is several years ago.
This was about a year and a half ago.
About a year and a half ago with a Republican representative from Oklahoma.
Yes, State Senator
Dom.
D-A-H-M, Dom.
Calvin, let's play that first clip, please, with Jon Stewart talking to this representative from Oklahoma.
Proponent of the Second Amendment. I believe the right to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. That's the one right that's listed in the Constitution that uses that very specific affirmative language, shall not be infringed.
It's also the one right that uses the phrase well-regulated.
Correct, when it's talking about the militia and the state.
By the way, just for clarity's sake, I'm not against the Second Amendment. I don't want to ban guns. But you're saying more guns makes us more safe.
Yes.
So when we got 400 million guns in the country, we had an increase and gun deaths went up. So when exactly does this curve hit that takes it down? Would 1 billion guns do it?
Let's just run those numbers, 400 million, 50,000. You're talking about less than a fraction of not even 1%, of 100th of a percent.
But it goes up, not down. So your argument is backwards.
A fraction of 100%. In mathematics terms, he's not wrong. It's a very small fraction of 400 million. But that fraction is human beings.
Those are people. Those 50,000.
This guy who I'm betting dollars to donuts, by the way, his name is Nathan Dahm, D-A-H-M. You can find that interview anywhere you find Jon Stewart. I'll bet you dollars to donuts that guy is 100% pro-life with no exceptions. I'll bet you.
Oh, I bet you're right.
But in this situation, 50,000, this infinitesimal number, this tiny fraction.
That's acceptable.
That's acceptable. Dead children, dead people, that's fine. It's the price you pay, Jane.
855-752-4842 if you'd like to join the conversation. Karina from Milwaukee is on the line. Good morning, Karina.
Good morning. Two things. First, I've heard, as you guys all did from the Republicans, and here you go, liberal medicine. You got it now. Well, that's a political, right? Back to your conversation. It's political. And another one, I read and I was looking forward to an article to send you a link, guys. Hopefully I'll find. There is a link a psychological paper saying that there is a link between playing games, shooting games, like the
Video
duty,
games?
right? Yes, video games and the kids going into schools. I mean, all the kids who went to shooting had long-term dependency on Call of Duty and very similar couple games, most popular games. I don't remember the
But
names.
I'm going to stop you there, Karina, though. But they have violent video games all over the world.
Yeah.
And this is still the only country where this happens with such regularity. I mean, we have a Cassandra on the live stream says, how can it be soon to talk about this when it happens all the time? Again, there have been 83 school shootings this year.
No, I'm not saying that it's an excuse, but I'm saying that the guns is a period. I'm agreed with the no guns 100%. But I'm saying is that when the kids are parenting, this is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about parenting. You can allow your child to sit hours after hours because something changed in their young brain when they have that perspective, them behind the gun, shooting other people, they start losing reality.
I understand what you're saying, Karina,
Yeah.
and I certainly think that's why I've always objected to using the term shooter because it makes it sound like a video game. I've always said the word gunman
Well, I mean,
because this entered the lexicon about 15 years ago. They all became shooters instead of gunmen, and I think that was by design so that we don't mention the word gun.
well, I have thoughts on all these
All right,
topics.
we're going to continue these thoughts, and we would love to hear from you if you would like to join us at 855-752-4842. Leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream. You're listening to Matenaer On Air. This is the Civic Media Radio Network.
Jenson.
Good morning. Welcome back to Matenaer On Air. Jane Matenaer, Greg Bach, and Cal B on the board. Coming to you from our studio here at Radio Park in Racine. You can always join us, call or text. The number is the same, 855-752-4842. That's 855-75-CIVIC. Leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. We are talking about yesterday's shooting at Abundant Life Christian School in Madison. 3 people are dead, including the 15-year-old girl who fired the shots. Another student and a teacher killed. I believe there are at least 2 people still hospitalized in critical condition. And I want to know what you think we should do. There are people, again, it's too soon to talk about this. Don't politicize it. We shouldn't, not now. Well, if not now, when? Dave from New Berlin says the kid that pulled the trigger was 15. If her family had the weapon legally, let's look at why she was so easily able to get that gun. And I'm going to go back to this opinion piece in the Journal Sentinel by James Causey, who essentially says the same thing as far as what can we do? What should we do? What actual things can we put into place? And he mentioned the Michigan gunman whose parents actually were held responsible for that and are going to do some jail time because of this. So parents must secure their weapons, keep them away from kids. If they fail to do so, they should face consequences. It's estimated 4.6 million children live in a home where there is a loaded, unsecured gun. That's crazy. That's just crazy.
I don't know how someone can see that as not a problem. But going back to something Karina said in the last segment, and this actually kind of goes along with what we were talking about yesterday with regard to marijuana legalization, which is this. I don't personally believe that kids playing shooter games is what pushes them towards doing this. I think it is a whole host of reasons. And the reason why I say that is because there are a lot of kids out there who start playing these games young, and now they're adults and they play these games and they live regular, normal lives,
nonviolent lives.
They have they're loving parents, they're whatever in their community. I think it goes deeper. The other side of the coin of this discussion that needs to be had is not just about guns, but it is about mental health. A 15-year-old child does not pick up a gun and want to do harm and be on a level of just like, they're not, I don't want to say they're not normal, but there's something going on there that needs to be discussed, and we're not going to talk about it. We're going to let it go, and it'll happen again, and we'll say, why God? Why did this happen?
Thoughts and prayers.
And you bring up the point of 4.2 million children are in homes with loaded, unsecured guns.
Yes.
And of those children, how many of those kids suffer from some sort of mental instability, mental health problems? That this gun being there doesn't assist it. So it's a whole bunch of talks that we are not going to have because we never do, because we just as a country can't come together and try to agree on this. When we do agree on certain things,
we agree on a lot of things.
But our leaders don't care.
Well, they're getting a lot of money not to care.
Yeah.
They're getting a lot of money to ignore it. Cindy from Appleton is on the line. Good morning, Cindy. Thank you for joining us. What did you want to say?
Well, I don't know how you cannot politicize this, because there is one party in particular who just doesn't want to do anything to fix this, to change the laws into more sensible gun legislation. They don't want to fund any kind of mental health in schools. They don't want to fund any kind of mental health clinics outside of schools. Their answer is to put everybody who's got a mental health problem in prison. Well, that's working.
Yeah.
But there's just so many things that they could be doing with just the swipe of a pen, but they're so hell-bent on protecting the second ridiculous, archaic amendment rights, which are doing us no good. We're the only country that has this problem.
Yes.
So, we need to look at ourselves and look within. And we have a party that's just, well, I'm so sorry this happened, but, well, I'm not going to do anything about it because.
I agree with you, Cindy. Thank you so much.
And I think on the other side of that, we have another party on the left who, when they are in charge, are too afraid to do anything because they're afraid of getting primaried or afraid of getting in trouble. Or some of them are in the pockets of the NRA as well.
Too much money.
Joe Manchin, go look up one of his ads where he fired a gun at the at a bill. Like, this is a problem. This is a big problem.
John K. on the live stream, this blows my mind. Keeping a loaded, unsecured gun within reach of a child is simply child neglect. Guns and ammo need to be secured. Common sense, people. Absolutely, John. Common sense. And Cindy's reference to the Second Amendment, they were talking about muskets. They were carrying muskets when they wrote that.
I don't. Well, I also don't mean to be a further stick in the mud of that topic. But if you look at some of the real reasons why the Second Amendment was written, slavery. So there you go.
Tom from LA is on the line. We got about 2 minutes left. Tom, go ahead. Thank you for joining us.
All right, Jane and Greg. Yep, biggest issue, money in politics.
Yep.
Ever since Citizens United 20 years ago, you can see a direct correlation between everything that has happened in this country and what happened with money in politics. I also think the Democrats need to change it from gun control to saying gun safety, because gun control, no one wants to be controlled. But the biggest issue on every issue under the sun, even when 90% of the American people agree on something, is money in politics, because we have an oligarchy, and that's what our oligarchic rule is. So I hope that people every day, I know people get sick of me talking about it, but say every single day, can we agree on both sides of the aisles that we need to get money out of politics? And the Supreme Court, the conservative Supreme Court, made it so so bribery is actually legal with our politicians.
Yeah. It's mind-boggling, Tom. Thank you. It really is. Alicia on the live stream, I'm going to say this over and over. Full background checks, yes. Red flag laws, yes. Storage requirements, yes. Mental health checks, yes. Regular training and practice of safe handling and firing, absolutely, Alicia.
I used to work with a police captain in Racine, and he said that that Americans should have to go through the same testing and know-how of their police. That's the same thing his police officers have to do, which is once a year.
Yes.
Mental health, firing checks, all those things.
All those things.
Period.
Absolutely. We have news coming up next. We will continue this conversation on the other side, so stay with us. 855-752-4842. Leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. This is Matenaer On Air, coming to you across the Civic Media Radio Network. Good morning. Welcome back to Matenaer On Air. Jane Matenaer, Greg Bach, Cal B coming to you live from our studio here at Radio Park in Racine. You can always join us. You can call. You can text. The number is the same, 855-752-4842. Leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. Tragically, excuse me, we are talking about yesterday's school shooting at the Abundant Life Christian School in Madison. 3 people are dead, a student, a teacher, and the 15-year-old girl who it appears carried out the attack. There are at least 2 others who are still hospitalized in critical condition, and we're taking your calls on what we can do as a country because we are the only place where this happens with such incredible and shocking regularity. The Washington Post has a tracker. There have been more than 400 school shootings since the Columbine massacre in 1999. More than 383,000 students have experienced violence at their schools.
Yeah.
Just try to wrap your head around that number. 383,000 kids.
It's too soon to talk about it, Jane.
Yeah, right. Thoughts and prayers.
Let's not politicize it.
Yeah, we can't politicize it. It's a price for freedom. It's a price we pay for freedom.
I'm just going to let everyone listening, I'm going to monitor the situation. I'm going to look at what's going on, and we should be fine after that until the next one.
Jim from Appleton, thank you for your patience, Jim. Thank you for joining us. What did you want to say?
I just wanted to about the comment, video games.
Yep.
You know, I'm not a young guy, and I've heard this argument since the 60s. There was violence in television, violence in the movies. It's not video games. It's not violence on television. It might be mental health, but nobody wants to fund that. What can we do? Well, there are a few other countries on the planet that have a lot of guns, but what they do is they keep all the ammunition locked up at the shooting ranges, and they monitor how many rounds go out, and they don't let people take the bullets home. Yeah, you can have your guns, can't have anything to put in it.
And what are we doing in this country, Jim? We actually have vending machines now going up in some parts of the South that sell bullets.
Yep.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Jim. And again, thank you for waiting. Amanda, listening on WISS in Oshkosh, says video games are not the problem. That's like blaming books or TVs, plays, movies, stories.
Mm-hmm.
They are not responsible for an individual making a choice. It is, however, our job as parents to teach our children the difference between reality and fiction, right versus wrong, and that it's okay to ask for help.
I think it's also the responsibility of the parents to keep their firearms, their bullets locked up. I think, and this is, in my opinion, no infringement upon Second Amendment rights, but if you were found in your home by the police with a loaded gun, easily accessible to children, go to jail. You are, as I said, child neglect. That's not infringing upon your second. That is an act that is causing in potential danger to a child and other people in your family too.
Absolutely.
So, maybe we stiffen up some other crimes. I mean, we've got the technology to print numbers on bullets and track bullets. We have those abilities. We have a lot of abilities to be very, very aware of what's going in and coming out of our country with regard to guns.
Yes.
Our ATF is drastically underfunded, but we don't want to say anything about it. We have people like Marjorie Taylor Greene screaming, defund the cops, and that's towards the ATF and the FBI, because those are the people she answers to.
855-752-4842 if you would like to join the conversation. John from New Berlin texting in, if you wanted to affect change regarding gun violence, people only seem to pay attention when it hits their pocketbook. We need a federal gun violence tax. Start charging people for their so-called freedom. Charging every American for gun violence might be the pressure you need for change. That would never happen, John.
No.
That would, unfortunately, again, we can't do anything about it. We don't want to, no, can't do that.
But there'd be a great tagline if you wanted to try it. Hey, it's the price we pay.
I like that.
There it is. So, yeah, I mean, what's funny is that we can think of 100 different variations on a theme, but it's like when you try to lose weight. You're not going to, don't try something crazy. The doctor's going to say, eat right, exercise. What's the solution to this problem? The solution is gun reform, gun safety, and mental health investments. They're very simple things, and they're things we agree on.
Yes, the vast majority of Americans agree on universal background checks and red flag laws.
Yeah.
And at least having to get a permit for a concealed carry.
Well,
and just some basic training.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those aren't extreme. I don't want to take your guns. I really don't.
No.
And I think most gun owners are responsible gun owners. And I don't think they would disagree with this stuff either.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to take your guns. I just don't want to keep having to talk about this.
Well, I want to know why you think I want to, to the mental health part of it, I want to know why you believe having 50 guns in your home is normal or necessary, or
if you're a collector, that's a different thing.
I'm not talking about collectors. I'm talking about people who display
who
their
have
guns,
arsenals.
Who have arsenals. I'm talking about people who could outflank the cops. I'm talking about lawmakers who think it's cool and funny to put their kids in camo, strap them with guns, and send them out as Christmas cards.
Let's not forget all the Republican lawmakers who were wearing AR-15 pins to show their support for the AR-15.
Yeah.
That was not the weapon, apparently, that was used in this particular instance. In this instance, it appears that it was a handgun. But, yeah, we're going to play another clip from Jon Stewart talking to Republican Representative Nathan Dahm from Oklahoma. Calvin, let's play clip number 2 talking about guns in America.
You're also making it less safe for cops and for people. When the police go to a domestic call, it's the most dangerous call they can go on. Mm-hmm. In your world, if they knew that there were firearms in the house, that's a safer call. Is that what you're saying?
No, because police...
Because why?
Because police treat every situation as a potential...
But more guns makes us safer. So why don't, when the police go to a house filled with guns, why don't they breathe a sigh of relief knowing that this Second Amendment that shall not be infringed is being exercised so fruitfully in this home?
And he has no response for that.
No.
He has no answer for that.
Yeah. His whole thing that anything that helps will infringe.
Is an infringement.
It's an infringement. And it's probably the most famous interview he's ever done now.
And you can find, I'm sure if you go to YouTube and go to The Daily Show or just go to YouTube, we'll put the link in our show notes.
Yeah, it's one of the most famous interviews he's ever done, probably the most famous interview. But it still makes me sick to my stomach that this man who claims to love this country and claims to love the people he represents will sit here with no compunction of being like, yeah, I'm 100% for this. Helping the police is not in my interest. And I guarantee you he has a Back the Blue sticker, or he said it as
I'm sure.
Or in his tweets, he talks about how much he supports the cops. But no, this is a bridge too far. It's a bridge too far, Jane.
Well, and also within this interview, Jon Stewart talks about, having a national gun registration list.
Yeah.
Which would make it easier for law enforcement to keep track of these guns.
Yep.
But no, you're infringing on my right.
Yeah.
You're infringing.
We do have a third clip where he talks about that, and it's just absolute hypocrisy because, something we didn't include in there was the fact that he's one of these guys who says, but kids shouldn't see drag story times.
That's dangerous.
That's dangerous to children.
Yes.
And I'll infringe upon this person's First Amendment rights to perform, but I won't, but guns, ooh.
Alicia, back on the live stream, says the only people authorized to carry a gun on a U.S. military base are base security. If you live on base, your gun has to be stored at the armory. And that takes me back to when the NRA has its convention. You can't bring guns into it. Explain that to me, and please help me make that make sense. You would be the safest people in the world if you're in a convention center full of armed people.
Yeah.
According to their logic.
Well, according to him, more guns
makes us safer.
As you can see, it works every day. There's absolutely no evidence to show the contrary, except the fact that yesterday. And here's the other thing too is, and I'll try to find the website and put it into the show notes. We've talked about this before, and I don't even remember the last shooting we were talking. You were on vacation, and we were talking about another mass shooting. I looked it up. There were 5 more that same day we didn't talk about.
5 more.
There was 5 more that day we didn't talk about. This happens all the time. And let us not also forget what that man said. 50,000 is a 1/100% of 400 million guns. 50,000 dead people, including children, is okay by him. That's the price you pay to live in this country. That is disgusting.
Well, and Andrew, much earlier, I'll see if I can I can find it now. If only there were the same outrage. And what happened to Brian Thompson, the president of United Healthcare, was horrible.
It's a tragedy.
And should never have happened. And that is not the answer to anything.
No.
But wouldn't it be great if we could see the same amount of outrage and focus when more of our kids are killed at school compared to one CEO?
It just proves that we don't care about our kids as much as we like to think we do. I mean, parents do, of course. Families do, but society, we do not. They are disposable in the vein of for a Second Amendment rights.
Freedom.
You are a sacrifice for the greater good of freedom.
Yes.
These children who will never graduate. Yep, you're right. That's the price we pay to live in this country.
Susan from Kenosha, listening on WAUK. I agree with you. Charge parents with child abuse if they don't lock up their guns. People with guns should be held responsible and spend time in jail if their weapon was responsible for injury or death.
I don't even say it's I'm saying if the cops come into your home and they see something and nothing's been done, you still get charged. That's still neglect, because there needs to be consequences. This cannot be a reactive thing. This has to be proactive. Parents have to learn that they have to lock their guns up. They have to make it safe for their children. And if they don't, there will be consequence. I know this country ain't big on consequences.
Well,
right
only
now.
not for some people.
Yeah, exactly.
Not for some people.
But I think that this should not be a reactive thing. Not once harm has been done. I'm saying if somehow someone reports it and says, my neighbor has guns out there and they have children, call the cops. Let them do their thing. This is not infringement. This is
Protection.
This is
preventative. It's preventative.
Ugh.
Another tragedy, another school shooting that did not have to happen.
Nope.
Talk to your kids. Love on your kids.
Please. And I know it sounds like a Herculean feat. He's not the right character, but call your lawmakers.
And don't be afraid to ask for help.
Yes.
If you need it, don't be afraid to ask for help. When we come back, U.S. Representative Mark Pocan will be joining us. I'm sure he will be weighing on this latest shooting in Madison at the Abundant Life Christian School. And we're also going to talk about Donald Trump says he thinks it might be a good idea to privatize the post office. Talk about how that's going to work. That is all on the way. Stay close. You are listening to Matenaer On Air on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Good morning, Representative. Can you hear me all right?
I can. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing well, thank you.
All right, we come back in exactly 1 minute.
Okay, sounds good.
Oh yes, wait a minute, Mr. Postman. Wait, hey, Mr. Postman. Mr. Postman.
Good morning. Welcome back to Matenaer On Air. Jay Matenaer, Greg Bach, and Cal B coming to you live from our studio here at Radio Park in Racine. You can always join us, call or text. The number is the same, 855-752-4842. Leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and the platform that Putz de Leon continues to actively ruin. After the 11 o'clock news, we are going to continue our statewide text to win contest for the grown-up gift list. So stick around for that. We will have a keyword for you to text in. Right now, though, very happy to have him join us and carve out some time for us. U.S. Representative Mark Pocan from the 2nd Congressional District is here. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, Jane. Thanks for having me. And, tough moment in our district yesterday. So still dealing with a lot of that and trying to get more information.
We were talking about that before you joined us. We've spent most of the hour talking about that. And I just think, Representative, people are so frustrated by the lack of action. And when we are told things like, well, this is the price you pay for freedom, and this is, my Second Amendment shall not be infringed. And there are so many things I think a vast majority of Americans agree on when it comes to universal background checks and red flag laws. And yet this happens over and over and over again.
Look, I think we got to take it a step up. This is a uniquely American problem. So we have to look at what we're doing wrong as a country. We have more guns than people. We've had 480 mass shootings so far this year, 80 school shootings this year. Look, this is a problem. And first you have to accept the problem. And then we got to figure out what we got to do. During COVID, we all stepped up and did things. Whenever there's an epidemic, you do something. We have an epidemic of gun violence right now, and we need to talk seriously about how to do that. From there, we got to get the policymakers and the state legislature in Washington to do something. But honestly, first, we have to do something. I mean, the saddest thing that's happened, well, not the saddest, but one of the saddest in the last 24 hours is we had some media yesterday, national media outlets call back and cancel some interviews today. I don't care for me. I want them to talk about the issue. But it was because they said it was only 2 deaths, not 5 as originally reported. If that's the attitude, that's actually the problem, and we got to solve it.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's horrifying.
Tell me about it.
That's just horrifying.
Yep.
So now we only care if it's like 6 or 10. That's really sickening.
Yeah, no, that was my attitude, and I'm not calling them out by name, but I've called them out pretty much in every interview since then, because it is precisely the problem. I mean, this shooting is a 15-year-old girl. I don't think you're going to find a magnificently, written manifesto that's going to point directly to the reason. But if you can't take your kid to school and know that they're going to come home at the end of the day, we have a problem. And this has happened 80 times this year, 480 mass shootings this year. It's uniquely a United States problem. We have to start with that, and then let's get something done on this.
Representative Pocan, if people call their lawmakers, does that make a difference? If we flood offices with phone calls about this, would that actually make anybody sit up and take notice?
I think you flood not just elected officials, but flood the media, flood others with it too. We have to start talking about this as a problem that, it's good to be number one when you're America, but not in this area. And this is a number one we should all be really deeply embarrassed by and want to do something about. But we've got to have a different societal approach towards guns and gun violence. And until we do, there's plenty of politicians that are going to do whatever the gun manufacturers say, because that's who funds their campaigns and that's who they feel the political pressure from. But more so, we have to care enough that we force those politicians to stand up to the gun manufacturers.
Something else we spoke about earlier, Congressman, was the fact that, a 15-year-old girl, a 15-year-old child doesn't wake up one day and decide to walk into their school and start causing this kind of horrific damage and violence. It's another discussion point as far as mental health in this country as well, is another talk that we just can't seem to get on.
Well, it's always talked about, and we need more funding. And then when it actually comes time to come up with the bucks, then that all goes away.
Well, and also when I was a kid, we had tornado drills and we went under the desk, and maybe that wasn't the most useful thing against a tornado, but right now they have shooter drills in school. Yeah. Like, this is a different reality that we are just accepting, and there's no reason to be accepting this. And, I do think that the pressure has to be in a lot of places. At least for me, we have these moments of silence. We're going to do one today for this shooting on the floor of Congress, and there'll be no moment of action after that. So,
right.
I've done this so many times in the 12 years I've been here. I can't tell you how frustrating that is, but more importantly, we have to accept that this is a national problem more than any elected officials. This is our problem, and we all better figure out how to embrace it.
Go to myvote.wi.gov, put in your address. That will bring up the addresses and phone numbers of all your elected representatives. Call them, write them, be polite, be respectful. But you're right, Representative, we can't just sit back and go, well, that was another one, tomorrow's another day. We have to keep up. We have to get some pressure going and keep that pressure going if anything is ever going to change in this country.
And, I give credit to law enforcement, too. When they were asked the question, shouldn't that school have been more fortified? No, we shouldn't have to fortify every school. What's next? Every hospital, what's next? Every gas station? No. Maybe we just address the problem instead of putting everything into a fortress in this country. So, again, we got to accept that we have a unique problem on this planet, and it's not good to be number one in this category and do something about it.
We're not going to have enough time to roast Louis DeJoy over the coals, unfortunately, and talk about the potential of privatizing the post office. We will have to have you back for that. Representative Mark Pocan with the 2nd Congressional District, thank you so very much for joining us this morning.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Stay tuned. News is coming up next. Keep it right here. You're listening to the Civic Media Radio Network.
Look and see if there's a letter for me. I've been waiting such a long time since I heard from that girl of mine. You gotta wait a minute, oh yeah. Wait a minute, oh yeah. You gotta wait a minute, oh yeah. Check it and see one more time for me. You gotta wait a minute.
welcome to Matenaer On Air. Jane Matenaer, Greg Bach, and Calvin Butenhoff coming to you live from our studio here at Radio Park in Racine. You can always join us. You can call, you can text, leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. We have a very busy hour coming your way at 11:33. Katie Jenson from HAWS, Humane Animal Welfare Society of Waukesha County, is going to join us. They have a special adoption event going on if you're looking for a little pet.
I'm not right now.
A furry child for Maybell, a little sibling.
Yeah,
They have a plane load of animals coming in today.
I'll send you the cleaning bill if I do that.
All right. Katie Jenson joining us after the 11:30 news. We will wrap up the show with This Shouldn't Be a Thing Parenting Tips Edition. If you ever have a thing you think should not be, send it into Greg and me at janesays@civicmedia.us. JANESAYS, Jane Says, @civicmedia.us. All right, it is time. Civic Media's latest statewide text to win grown-up gift list contest is underway every weekday this week in the 7, 11, 1, and 4 o'clock hours. We pass in a keyword that you need to text in via the Civic Media app. So go get your phone.
Got it.
Open it up.
Got it.
Go to the Civic Media app.
On it.
Pick whatever station you want. Could be WISS, WAUK.
Of course.
Here is the word. Calvin, can we have our little frill? The word this hour you need to text is cold. COLD. This hour's word is cold. We are playing this hour for $100 cash. Pretty nice. Just a couple, almost a little more than a week away from Christmas.
That's gonna help.
That would help. $100 cash up for grabs this hour. Text the word cold, COLD, via the Civic Media app. You are in the running for that $100. Everyone who enters is qualified for one of 8 grand prizes, including espresso machines. We have some luggage sets, a snowblower, a humidifier,
Remote vacuum. Jane, really quick. What if I I know I can't enter because of me, but what if I could? What if I was like, man, I would really love a bonus entry. Can I get a bonus entry?
You can actually get a bonus entry.
I can't believe I just made that up.
So once you text in the word cold,
Yeah.
COLD,
Correct.
if you spell it correctly,
Please spell it correctly.
you should get a response back
Yes.
from Civic Media, provided you haven't blocked our messages.
Please don't block us.
You will get a response back from Civic Media. You click on that,
Mm-hmm.
and you can do something like sign up for our newsletter, which is really fabulous.
Yeah.
Anyway, there are a couple of other options that you have. You can only do this once for that bonus entry.
Correct.
But we're kind of hoping that these bonuses will be enough to push us over the top and finally knock Todd Alba off his throne.
It did yesterday.
We'll see. That looked like an aberration to me. Anyway, the word this hour is cold, COLD. Playing for $100 in cash the next time. We'll be in the 1 o'clock hour, either playing for that $100 or an overnight stay at Chula Vista Resort. Good luck. Right now, we are joined by our friend and colleague and Civic Media's genie of just about everything.
Yeah.
On the phone, Teri Barr is with us. Good morning, Teri.
Good morning. I love you guys. You just make me smile.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Teri. We appreciate that. Well, I want to tell you, you make me smile because you do so many different things for Civic Media. And one of the things you do that I love are your little special pieces about Wisconsin.
Those are so fun, Jane. Just doing the research and some of the things I've been able to find over the last, I think I've been doing this a year plus now.
Right.
Has been amazing. Who knew that we had so many fabulous things in Wisconsin? I think we did, but when you actually reveal it to other people, you kind of go, wow, this is pretty cool.
So what has been the biggest surprise to you, or what are some of your favorite things you've discovered about our fabulous state?
Well, I have 2 that are my top favorites. One, of course, is what I learned about cheese curds, and in particular, why they squeak. And it's because, they rub on your teeth when you bite a cheese curd, a warm one, and then that's what makes it squeak. I didn't know that, so I love that.
I would not have known that either.
Seems like something I have to
The
test.
other one, oh yeah, there you go. And you report back to me. You let me know if it really works. The other one, and I'm sure we all have, kind of a soft spot of fondness for the small towns in Wisconsin. There is one up in the northwest corner. It is Bloomer, and that is right outside of Chippewa Falls. There is a restaurant on Main Street. One of those tiny restaurants. It's called the Main Street Cafe.
Okay.
And the guy that runs it, his name is Donnie Stoic. He's owned it forever. And of course, everybody knows everybody. And so everybody goes there to have coffee and to chit chat about what's happening. Well, at this time of year, he doesn't have time to chit chat because he and all of his elves make 150,000 pies that they sell out of this little Main Street Cafe during the holidays.
Teri, did you just say 150,000?
I indeed did. Yes. And 65 varieties all made by hand.
That's
That blew me away.
insane.
Isn't it? Yeah. So hats off to Donnie. He also told me that every single pie is made with real dairy products. And if you actually have enough time to sit at the counter with some coffee and order a piece of pie, you will then get free milk with it and a free gob of ice cream on top of it.
Oh, we're so going
Okay,
to Bloomer.
well-
we're
well,
totally going to Bloomer now.
We're moving to Bloomer.
Teri Barr is our guest. She is Civic Media's genie of just about everything. Tom on the live stream says Bloomer is the jump roping capital of the world.
Oh, Tom may have just given me another new story idea.
Well, and I was going to ask you, Teri, do people give you tips? Do you just stumble on all this stuff by yourself? Because that's pretty remarkable.
It's really, honestly, since I started doing this, it's become a great combination of people getting a hold of me and saying, oh, did you know? Or I stumble upon something like Main Street Cafe, or I just look something up thinking, did I ever remember hearing that was in Wisconsin? Like Carmex is made in Wisconsin.
Right.
Who remembered that until I looked it up again? But yeah, I love it. It's such a great combination because it does become more than just a story that I'm doing for our listeners. It involves the listeners then letting me know when they have a great story idea.
Well, it's not only that, Teri, it's also for us as the people on the air and producing the shows. I mean, before working for Civic Media, I didn't have a lot of knowledge about Wisconsin other than the basic stuff. I mean, squeaky cheese and beer and sausage and Packers and whatnot.
And milk.
But and milk. But I listen to the things you talk about, Teri, and the other things that, the other stories that people put out in the news, things we talk about on our show, these businesses we discuss. And it gives me such a wonderful sense of this state and a huge sense of pride about being from here as well. I mean, yeah, 150,000 pies might not be something that puts us on the map internationally, but it's still something really cool. And when you say that at a party, someone's going to say, 150,000? Yeah. We like pies. So
yeah,
that's just something that I really appreciate from you, Teri, for what you do here.
Thank you, Greg. Well, you know what does put us on the map for real, the big map, the world map, is the Kringle. That is the recent that is the recent slice of Wisconsin, especially when I was told by someone who suggested it. Thank you. You can't have a slice of just one piece of Kringle. You got to eat more. And these are now shipped out from the Racine area. There's several different authentic Kringle makers in Racine.
Oh, yeah.
And shipped all over the world. Isn't that incredible? And it's still the old recipes being made that came over in the late 1800s.
Wow. And it's making a Kringle is pretty labor intensive, isn't it?
Again, it's another one of those where it's a pastry, hand rolled, and at some point they make these anywhere from 32 layers to 36, I guess, is the king of the Kringle. But after they roll it and make the layers, they have to allow it to set overnight. And then you can start the actual baking and frosting and stuffing stuff into it process. You have to be very patient, is what I'm told.
Oh, I can't imagine how many folds that is because I like to watch baking. I like to watch baking show. I watch the Great British Baking Show all the time, and they'll do maybe like
fun.
4 folds, but
Yeah.
that is crazy. And I have to say, I got a birthday Kringle for Greg yesterday, and it was called the Wisconsin Kringle with cherries and cranberries and cream cheese, and that might be the finest Kringle on the planet.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds beautiful.
It was so good. It was so good.
I have a great wealth of knowledge of Kringles, working in Racine for a long time, and the various places you can go, and the hard fought opinions on them as well. If you don't want to start a fight at a coffee shop in Racine, don't talk about your favorite Kringle place.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah,
People get hot.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You gotta love that too. At least they're standing up for what they believe in Racine and
Darn
the
right.
Pringles,
So-
and just knowing that people can get them anywhere they live in the world.
It's a hard fought Kringle competition. I didn't realize that the bakeries. I thought they all kind of help each other out.
Oh no, they get along. I'm talking about the people themselves.
The customers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Tom from Jackson, Teri is texting in and listening in Madison and WMDX. Have you done a show about cherries?
I did a really brief, the kind of fruit. And that was last year. So maybe I need to do an updated because I could split the fruit now that I have more knowledge. Yeah, we could do one separate on cherries, and I already did a separate one on cranberries.
Perfect.
Oh
So
yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, maybe cherries deserves its own spot, I would think.
I'm a big cherry fan, so I would, yes, I think cherries deserve their own special segment.
They get their own show.
They get their own show. Ann from Chippewa Falls texting in, I am one of the record holders in Bloomer in the jump rope competition, 58 jumps in 10 seconds.
My goodness.
No kidding. Oh, that is amazing. Congratulations.
Teri, we're going to have you back right after a very short break. Stay with us. You are listening to Matenaer On Air, coming to you across the vast, statewide, countrywide, global Civic Media Radio Network. We'll be right back. Good morning. Welcome back to Matenaer On Air. Jane Matenaer, Greg Bach, and Sweet Calby coming to you live from our studio here at Radio Park in Racine. You can always join us, call, text, leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter coming up after the 11:30 news. Katie Jenson from HAWS, Humane Animal Welfare Society of Waukesha County, will be joining us. They have a special adoption event going on right before Christmas. So if you are looking to adopt, maybe foster, because you're going to be off during the holiday, that's a really good thing to consider as well. So stick around for that. We'll wrap up the show today with This Shouldn't Be a Thing, Parenting Tips Edition. Stick around for that. Just a reminder, our latest statewide text to win grown-up gift list contest is underway. This hour, the word you want to text in via the Civic Media app, you have to use the app. The word to text in is cold, C-O-L-D. Cold is the word up for grabs this hour. $100, a nice crispy $100 bill. Cold, C-O-L-D. You have until noon to text that in. Your next chance in the 1 o'clock hour, either playing for another $100 or an overnight stay at Chula Vista Resort in Wisconsin Dells. Everyone, whether you win or not, going to be in the running for one of 8 grand prizes, including an espresso machine, a little robotic vacuum, snowblower. So text the word cold, C-O-L-D, this hour playing for $100. You heard her walk-up music there. Teri Barr is Civic Media's genie of just about everything. And you hear her great slice of Wisconsin pieces that air all across the network. And we were talking about Kringles before. And I want to talk to you, Teri, now with the time that we have left about your involvement with Max Inc. Radio. This is a special live music program that airs out of Madison on Saturdays. How did you get involved with that? Because you're very involved in the music scene in Madison.
Yeah, I think ever since we moved back to Wisconsin, and I've always believed in local music, I was really fortunate to connect with one of my co-hosts, Rocker, and he at one point asked me if I could ever join them. And at the time I was working at a different radio station, so I couldn't. But when I decided to leave that station, he came right on back to me and said, "Come and be on the show. This is going to be so much fun." And I've never looked back. We provide 6 hours of local music. Live, every Saturday night. But we're lucky we get to replay it again on Sunday night, so if you miss it. But I'm going to hang my hat on this one, Jane and Greg. We just had a young lady on who put out her first album. Get this, she's 11 years old.
My goodness.
She's 11?
Yeah, so we are bragging that we found Wisconsin's Taylor Swift.
Oh. And what's her name?
Her name is Paige. Yeah, her name is Paige Kleber. She's from Verona, which is just south of Madison.
Okay.
And she is already sparking so much interest after we had her on live for a complete hour. She was brave enough to deal with us and our questions and then play live songs for us. She was then asked by the Bucks to do the national anthem.
Wow. And she's 11?
Yep. No, she's 11.
I've done things with my life.
Guitar out there? Yeah, right. That's what we all said. At the end of our interview with her, we said, "Please don't forget us."
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously. Remember us in 10 years when you're on your Eras tour and things have changed. I can't get over how much poise it would take for an 11-year to be 11.
Yeah.
Yes.
And what does she write about? I'm curious. What are her songs about?
I love that you asked that. Everything. She writes, now get this, Jane. She writes about love and boys.
I'm shocked.
At 11. Yes. And she has one about sort of a heartbreak where a boy is at a party with her and he won't talk to her. But she goes beyond that. I shouldn't stick with just that. She writes about bullying.
Oh.
And it was from a real something that happened at her school. I mean, she's in middle school.
Yeah.
Wow.
She took the song to school and asked her teacher if the teacher would play it because it involved some of her classmates. And she basically said to them, play the song, listen to the song, and then don't ever do that again.
Wow.
Uh-huh. And then here's one of my favorites, and maybe we can play this sometime. She wrote a song about strong women and mentions Kamala Harris, and at the end the chorus is "We are never going back."
Oh, wow.
And you can't help but you get caught up in her song and you end up wanting to sing that part right along with her. She's really terrific. She's like 11 going on 35.
No kidding. She must have pretty supportive parents, too.
Yes, her mom is her momager.
Yep.
Uh-huh. And dad is basically, he's like the roadie, and she had a funny name for him too, like the Doty or something. Yeah, he carries the gear and drives her around, and mom is the manager. I love that so much.
We have a question on the live stream. Where could we find Paige? Does she have a website?
Of course she does. Yes. And let me spell her name so you can look for it. It's Paige, Paige, and then Kleber is Kleber. And if you Google her, it'll come right up.
Okay.
She's got all her music there, all her show dates. She's now on the national anthem circuit. She hopes to also do the Brewers this summer. And she's doing a bunch of high schools, which to me, that would be even more scary because now you're having to sing to some of your just a little bit older peers.
Yeah.
You know? High school can be tough.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
She's a brave little kid. Too bad she has. Too bad she has no ambition and will probably never amount to anything.
No, and as part of our Q&A with her, we said, okay, so what are your plans? Or maybe we shouldn't ask you that for a couple of years. She goes, oh no, I'm all set. When I graduate, I am moving to Nashville. I'm going to write songs with some great songwriters there. Then I'm going to record mine, and I'm going to win some Grammys.
Well, good for her. We will absolutely include her in our show notes so you can find her for yourself. And you will hear Teri Barr all across Civic Media with her Slices of Wisconsin. You do a regular hit with Maggie Dawn. I know Teri. She is our genie of just about everything at Civic Media. Teri Barr, thank you so very much, my friend.
Oh, happy holidays to all of you and to all of your listeners. Thank you so much, you guys.
And to you as well, Teri. News is coming up next when we return. We're talking about adoptable animals. And don't forget, the word this hour to text in via the Civic Media app is COLD, COLD. Text the word COLD. Before noon today, we are playing for $100 in cash. Keep it right here. You're listening to Matenaer On Air on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Hello, Katie. Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you. Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Perfect.
We come back from break in about 4 minutes.
Okay. Sounds good.
morning and welcome to Matenaer On Air. Jane Matenaer, Greg Bach, and the Calvinator on the board coming to you live from our studio at Radio Park in Racine. You can always join us. You can call, you can text, or leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and the platform that used to be Twitter. You have until noon to text the word via the Civic Media app, COLD. C-O-L-D is the word to text on the Civic Media app for our statewide Text to Win grown-up gift list contest. This hour we are playing for $100 in cash. And whether or not you win, some of our previous winners, we have Stephen from Onalaska, Lisa from Butternut, Jeff in Augusta, all previous winners. They and you, even if you don't win an hourly prize, are all going to be entered into the grand prize drawing. We have 8 grand prizes, including espresso machines, robot vacuum cleaners. There's a snowblower up for grabs. So text the word COLD, C-O-L-D, via the Civic Media app this hour. We're playing for $100 in cash. Your next chance will be in the 1 o'clock hour, either $100 or an overnight stay at Chula Vista Resort in the Wisconsin Dells. Right now, though, we are joined by the Director of Marketing and Philanthropy for HAWS, which is the Humane Animal Welfare Society in Waukesha County. Katie Jenson is here. Good morning, Katie. How are you doing?
Good morning. I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Well, you have a busy day. You have a plane coming in, don't you?
It is actually a ground transport today. So
it's
it is
ground transport.
Yep. So it's coming from a southern state, and we are going to be taking 17 dogs. So dogs and puppies.
I'm all about this. I'm all about this. One thing that I think that people should understand about HAWS is that you are a no-kill shelter.
Yep, correct.
So you will keep these pups for as long as it takes for them to find a forever home.
Absolutely. We are the only no-kill and open admission shelter in southeastern Wisconsin, actually.
So that can mean sometimes that you get a little backed up with animals. And we've talked in the past about how having a whole bunch of dogs in one place is not necessarily the most restful place for them to be. It can be very high stress, correct?
Yes, there are studies out there that say they get an average of 90 minutes of sleep only an entire day when they stay in the shelter. So I know.
But it's the barking. And everybody's anxious, and I'm sure they just all kind of keep each other hyped into a little frenzy. So you would like to get them out as soon as possible, or if not necessarily a forever home, how about a foster home?
Yes. So we actually have a really great program called Foster to Adopt on top of our normal foster, where you can come and kind of do a trial run with a dog in your home for about 2 weeks. So we'll give you all the behavior support you need. We'll give you any of the food you might need, and you can take that time to see if they're the perfect fit for your family. So the way the dates are lining up, it would be a great way to take one home over the holidays and see how it works out.
Yeah, definitely. If you're going to have some time off of work and you're going to be home with the kids, and this is something that you're considering, this is a great way to do it, Katie. It really is, because I would imagine it's going to take the first couple of days just for the animal to relax a little bit to really find out their personalities.
Yep, they say 2 to 3 days just to get a little bit used to being somewhere new and rest up, and then 2 to 3 weeks is kind of when you start getting their full personality and they're getting comfortable. So,
and you already have 41 dogs that are up for adoption, right?
Well, luckily we did have a couple going to foster to adopt, what we were just talking about this weekend. But we also took in the same amount of dogs as surrenders yesterday. So we are at about like 35, 36 animals available right now. And then with those 17 that are coming in, we'll have nearly 50 available by the end of Wednesday, early Thursday.
That's a lot of dogs.
That's a lot of dogs.
It is a lot of dogs.
Well, let's talk about volunteer opportunities at HAWS, because not everybody wants to be a dog walker necessarily. There are other things that people can do if you're a volunteer.
There are. We have cat cuddling. We have dishes, laundry. We do an average of 32 loads of laundry every single day. So we can always use help keeping up with that, especially after the transport that comes in.
I bet.
And then there's clerical work. We can use help answering voicemails or helping write thank you cards, or really anything that somebody has a skill in. We are happy to find them something to do.
What kind of skills do I need to be a cat cuddler?
You have to love cats and want to give them love. Not too hard, right?
You're hired.
Yes.
Yes, right.
That sounds like a great gig.
Yes, we are very fortunate. We have just under 400 active volunteers that come at least an hour a
Wow.
week.
Jeez.
So
Do
we
they all
could
sign
not
up
do
to
it
be cat
without them.
cuddlers? They're like, I want cat cuddler. Okay, we need someone else.
You have to
You
spread
know what?
it around.
It's nice. We get a good, yes, we get a good variety. We also have some people that help do like lawn care and help
Yeah.
do the not so fun jobs outside. So
If you're just joining us, Katie Jenson is our guest. She's the Director of Marketing and Philanthropy for HAWS, which is, of course, the Humane Animal Welfare Society of Waukesha County. There is a great foster to adopt program going on right now. So you can have a pup spend 2 weeks with you, see how it goes, see how you get along.
People on the live stream are telling me that I need to take home another dog.
For Maybell.
But Maybell is a year old. She already has the run of the castle. I don't know if I would.
not a great excuse.
You know
Tell
what,
him, Katie.
You know what,
Tell him, Katie.
You know what, Katie? I don't need this from you or Jane or Tom. No, actually, if we did adopt another dog, I would totally adopt like a 10 or 12-year-old dog.
Okay, that's pretty cool. What kind of dog are you like? Do you have a type?
Honestly, for that age, I would go bigger. So like Maybell, our dog, she's a mini German Shepherd. She's
pretty little.
She's 28 pounds. I know, half German Shepherd, half Pomeranian, and she got a lot of energy. But I know, science is weird. But also, like for like a 10 or 12-year-old dog, I would get a bigger dog. Her best friend is named Lily. She's a big old retriever, and they're great together because Maybell brings out the energy in Lily. But then when Lily wants to lay down, Maybell wants to lay down. So they just kind of mirror each other's behavior,
That's
which is
great.
great. So if we did get another dog, I would sooner get an older dog than a brand new one.
Than another puppy.
Correct.
Well, you still have no good excuse because we literally have everything from like a Shih Tzu to a Frenchie to a Great Dane right now. So,
Stop looking at me, Jane. Stop looking at me,
we
Jane.
open at 1 o'clock.
But I think for some folks, and my husband and I have talked about it, and we're older, we're both in our mid-60s, I would want an older dog because I don't have the energy to put up with to train a puppy again.
Absolutely. Well, and right now, any dog over 6 months old is also 50% off their adoption fee.
Jane, there's no excuse not to.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm just hearing excuses.
Calvin, what about you? I think the Butenhoff household probably needs another dog too.
This would be a third dog,
I
wouldn't
have 2 dogs and a cat. I think I have the most excuses.
Even numbers are always better, we like to say. So,
I mean,
you want to set, yeah,
Right.
an even number, Calvin.
You need
should
4,
have
not
at least
3.
4. Yeah,
Definitely.
it just makes sense. Doy.
And not to only talk about dogs, of course, we have plenty of great cats and still some kittens available for adoption, as well as small animals. So rabbits, guinea pigs, pretty much anything, you name it.
It's interesting that you say that because now I'm on Blue Sky and things are showing up on my timeline of people with odd pets. So I've seen people with videos of their house squirrel, and then I saw someone with a house meerkat.
No.
That seems like a really not good idea.
It's probably not legal everywhere, but
And
at least
it
not in our
definitely
county.
It wouldn't be a place you'd want to introduce then probably a dog into.
Probably
Probably
not.
not. Probably
Yeah.
not.
Probably not. But how can you even house train a squirrel?
I don't know that you do.
You don't.
You just live with it.
They rely
That's
on you,
just-
and then one day, Jane, they turn on you. They're like raccoons with their little hands.
I go in the kitchen and all the peanuts are gone.
Yeah.
Katie Jenson is our guest from the Humane Animal Welfare Society of Waukesha County. Anything else coming up, Katie? Any events that people can attend or that you want to spread the word about?
Yeah, I mean, we travel about 180 places a year with adoptable animals. So always check out our events calendar on our website, hawspets.org, and see if we're going to be in your neighborhood. Otherwise, if you can have it in your heart, bring an animal home for the holidays, try foster to adopt, come find us in Waukesha, and we'll be happy to help you.
Do you have a gift list as well? I know some shelters will have a gift list because you're always looking for supplies, I would imagine.
Yes, we do have a wish list on our website all the time, as well as like an Amazon instant purchase, Chewy, and Walmart. So we would love wet dog food. We could definitely use as we get into these 50 numbers for animals in our care. So
Boy, I bet. Yeah, you got lots of 41 dogs or 35 dogs already with 17 more coming. So you're gonna need some chow for those puppies.
Absolutely. We just discovered a wet dog food that's like ham and eggs, biscuits and gravy. I'm like, these dogs are eating better than I am, and I'm
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Is there anything else specifically in addition to the wet dog food that you could use, particularly with this van load coming up today?
Yeah, any type of dog food and dog enrichment items are really great. So when dogs are staying a little bit longer at the shelter, that would mean anything like Kongs, peanut butter to fill them, bully sticks, or like higher value chews that they can spend the night with. So,
And I would imagine stay away from the fluffy toys.
I mean, it's still enrichment. So if you have them, or if you even have ones at your house that your dogs might not be playing with anymore, we wash them and our dogs here love them. So happy to take some of the ones that your pet gets new ones, bring us the other ones that you had it laying around, and we are happy to spread the love.
Oh, you will take them. You will take used. Oh, that's fabulous.
I love that.
Yeah, that's great. Well, get up look around at the stuffies lying all over your floor and in baskets and behind your couch, and just collect them, put them through the washing cycle, and take them out to HAWS along with some wet dog food that they're going to be needing.
And Kongs and peanut butter. And
yes, we would love it. And come adopt at 1 o'clock.
Greg will be there.
You'll see it then, Greg. Yeah.
You know what? Okay, whatever. I'm getting another dog. Oh, no.
Tom on the live stream says, Katie, you are doing God's work. And I really do think that all of you folks who work at animal shelters, you go through so many stressful situations, and you talked about people who had to surrender their animals. That's got to be painful for those people and hard for the volunteers.
It is. It's rough, but that's why we're here, and we're all happy to do it. So
yeah. I mean, that's the thing is, I don't think anyone says, I'll get into animal shelter work. That seems like fine. You have to really, really love this work. And getting to know HAWS through the last year and a half has been great. And yeah, we'll probably get another dog down the road, and we'll probably come down and visit you.
We'll get him there. And Alicia on the live stream says, stop trying to convince me to adopt another dog. I have two.
We will not stop. We will not stop.
A Dalmatian lab and a boxer bulldog. There's an opening in there, Alicia, for a Shih Tzu something cross.
I think you're right.
I think that would be the perfect addition to you. All right, we're going to include all of this in the show notes so you can reach out. And if you have the opportunity and the resources, really appreciate any donations you can make to HAWS so they can keep their mission going. Katie Jenson is the Director of Marketing and Philanthropy. Thank you so much, Katie. Merry Christmas, and give lots of pets and nose boops to everyone at the shelter.
Of course,
all the scritches.
All the scritches.
Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you. Stay with us. When we return, we will wrap it up with This Shouldn't Be a Thing, Parenting Tips Edition. You are listening to Matenaer on the Civic Media Radio Network.
Made that old car go. My Roman mind told me that so. How I wish that we were back on the road again. Me and you and a dog named Blue, traveling and living off the land. Me and you and a dog named Blue, how I love being a free man. I can still recall the wheat fields near St. Paul, and the morning we got caught robbing from an old hen. Old MacDonald, he made us work, but then he paid us for what it was worth. Another tank of gas and back on the road again. Me and you and a dog named Boo, traveling and living off the land. Me and you and a dog named Boo, how I love being a free man. I never forget that day we motored stately into big L.A. The lights of the city put the settling down into my brain. It's only been a month or so, but that old car's a begging us to go.
Welcome back to Matenaer On Air. Jane Matenaer, Greg Bach, and Dr. Slide on the board, coming to you from our studio here at Radio Park in Racine. You can always join us, call or text or leave a comment if you're watching on the live stream on Facebook, YouTube, and what used to be Twitter. Just a reminder. Oh, I wanted to mention this quickly.
Yeah.
We are global.
We are global.
I got confirmation yesterday on my Blue Sky account.
Yeah, you did.
I believe Adam left a message on my Blue Sky account, and you can find it. It's just my name. It's not that hard. Well, yeah, it's kind of hard, but anyway. And he said, you can officially say you are global. We are listening to you in New Zealand while we're on vacation via the Civic Media app. So, yes, statewide, countrywide, global Civic Media Radio Network.
And I know that they're on vacation, but in my mind, they're from New Zealand.
New Zealand.
And they're listening to us, listening like they're on a lazy river, just having a good time, listening to Matenaer On Air.
Kiwi's a tough accent.
I
man.
know, very difficult.
It really is. I was there many years ago. It's it's the cleanest country I've ever seen.
I want to go there.
I think they vacuum the country every night. It's very clean. But anyway, thank you for letting us know that you can listen, and thank you for taking us with you. That he said that they just wanted to keep up with what is going on in Wisconsin. All right, it is 11:53. That means it is time for
This Shouldn't Be a Thing.
If you ever have a thing you think should not be, send it in to Greg and me at janesays at civicmedia.us, JANESAYS, Jane Says at civicmedia.us. Today it is the Parenting Tips edition, courtesy of one Mama Musk. Mae Musk, Putz de Leon's mother, has appeared on Fox and Friends. She was asked about her thoughts, because apparently she's an expert now on everything.
Mm-hmm.
She was asked her thoughts about the birth rate. Quote, your son talks a lot about it. It's declining and the problems with humanity. With that, she was asked. Mae responded to someone who asked her on Twitter that it said it's just too expensive to have children. And I think this is the problem that a lot of people are facing, and why they're choosing not to have children, just because of how much everything costs right now.
Yeah.
Not to mention, just your mortgage and your car, not to mention the expense of having a child.
Yeah.
Mae's answer.
Do the accent.
I can't do a South African accent. Mae said, when Elon was born, we were in a small 2-bedroom apartment overlooking a garage. When Kimball was born, we moved to a 2-bedroom apartment with a view. When Tosca was born, we moved to a 2-bedroom house, all in the same area. Mae Musk says, when you have more children, quote, you move on. You start doing better and better. You don't have to go to the movies. You don't have to go out to dinner. The most wonderful gifts you could ever have is the children.
Where do I start with this? First of all, your kid's name sucks. All of them sucks. I hate the names of all your children, and I'm not a fan of most of them anyways. Also, when they had Elon, if I'm not mistaken, they were already knee-deep in an emerald mine during apartheid South Africa.
Yeah, they don't like to talk. They don't like to talk about that whole emerald mine thing.
Don't tell them about the good old working class days when we're really struggling. No, you're not. You weren't.
And Mae, you only had 3. You seem like a bit of an underachiever to me, says the youngest of 6.
Not to mention one of your kids, the one who's best friends with a tyrant, has 12 children, and a whole bunch of different baby mamas. And I'm not sure if she's still married to Elon's father.
No, because Elon's father had an affair with one of his stepdaughters.
And got her pregnant.
Yes. Perfectly healthy, normal, non-toxic family dynamics going on there.
But Jane, the house they moved into was so quaint.
Oh, it was adorable.
Had a nice view. They don't go to Applebee's. They don't see Marvel movies.
Never, yeah, your kids don't need that, Calvin.
Well, just to connect how out of touch these people are, one of Elon Musk's baby mamas, Grimes,
the singer.
Yes. She compared her son Axe to Paul Atreides from Dune. So
wait a minute, hold
What?
on. So wait, the child's name is X as in the.
his name is XAE.
I know which one you're talking. I know which. Yeah, I know which
but
one
they
you're talking about.
refer to him as Axe.
I hate
And in an
this.
interview with Vanity Fair, she referred to him, or she compared the things he's going to have to go through in his life to Paul, the protagonist
In
of the
Dune.
Dune series.
Timothy
Okay, that-
Chalamet character?
That seems like a stretch. But I believe Grimes is also the one who has said that he won't let her see their 3 children.
She said that he is no longer the person she was with. And I really think that once his daughter transitioned, which he refuses to acknowledge that's what started to change him into the person he is today. But before that, he was also about population.
Right.
He thinks you should be having as many children as possible because, it's easy when you're worth $350 billion.
Yeah, Mama Musk, maybe keep your parenting tips to yourself. That wraps up today's edition of
This Shouldn't Be a Thing.
Thank you, Greg and Calvin, and all of our engineers. Without you guys, nothing works. And thank you most of all for calling and for texting and for listening. It absolutely means the world. I hope you find some joy today, even if it's just a little bit, and you have the chance to share it. Stay here. News is coming up next. Keep it right here on the vast, statewide, countrywide, global
Global
Civic Media Radio Network. We'll see you tomorrow.